Welcome back. You're listening to the Darrel Davis program. Before the break, I was updating folks on the sudden resignation of Peekskill Housing Authority Chairman Ron Abad, all the controversy going on around that issue, the marches. We had a march in Peekskill. We've been rocking the city council meetings and demanding that the housing director be removed, the city manager be removed, and, we're more than two-thirds of the way there. But he resigned suddenly. And I was also pointing out the contradictions that Ron Abad, while he was overseeing housing abuses in Westchester, has been working for the Bloomberg administration as the assistant commissioner of homeless services. But along with that, it's just weird how all of these big-name Democrats are linked to Peekskill. You have Mike Morey, Senator Chuck Schumer's regional director, was a former chairman of the Peekskill Democratic Party and worked for this ticket. So you have all of these people running around acting like Democratic liberals nationally and statewide, but right here in Westchester, they're pushing the whole gentrification issue. Now we're going to move on to, early in the program I said we will be talking about the ongoing issue with police killings and people of color, what's behind it, what can we do about it. We have a special in-studio guest, Damon K. Jones. He's been here before. He's with Blacks in Law Enforcement, Westchester branch. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Now, we just, again, it seems like every time we turn around, and I was at the rally in White Plains, Slater Center, and I remember when you spoke, you said, just a matter of time, we'll be here again for somebody else.
That's right.
The only thing's going to change is the names and the circumstances, and here we are. And so my first question is, why does this continue to happen? Well, first of all, before we get to that, why does this continue to happen?
Well, it continues to happen because the people have not demanded change. People have not demanded accountability and transparency and examination of law enforcement policies and procedures, especially with use of force policies. And the politicians haven't stepped up and did anything about it. But it's up to the people. At the end of the day, it's up to the people.
What about that, though? Because I remember when you were on my program for the first time, you and I had that conversation that, right here, what is it, Westchester, Spring Valley? I've been to Spring Valley many times, so, we're saying where are the elected officials? It seems to be, at least in Westchester, no, not even Westchester, but nationally, black elected officials seem to be representing the interests of a certain class of black people.
Of course.
And we need to change that because, I've said before that, what happened to Brother Ridley or the Chamberlain family or whoever, every single black elected official should have been at every one of those rallies. They should have been standing shoulder to shoulder and said, put an end to this.
Right.
And let's face it, the district attorney, she's a politician. She gets elected. We're letting these politicians, her, before her, Janine Pirro, before that, was it McGarry, Carl McGarry?
Yeah.
But the point is that these district attorneys really are getting elected and reelected, and all of this misery is still going on in our community. There's a major contradiction there.
Right. Well, we haven't developed a self-worth, through the election process in Westchester County. And that is really unfortunate because we only have maybe about 5 or 6 black elected officials in Westchester. And it was appalling, not to see, especially with the Bridget case, we had to go and get Charles Barron, from Brooklyn to come out as an elected official to come out and speak on behalf from an elected official standpoint about accountability and policies. With the Christopher Ridley case, we had to bring in Senator Eric Adams again from Brooklyn, to be very outspoken on why young men are being shot and killed, and especially African American law enforcement that are in plain clothes or undercover being shot and killed by their white counterparts, which we have yet to see in New York. That happens in the reverse, where a black uniformed officer will shoot at an undercover or a plainclothes white cop. That has never happened yet in the state of New York. So, again and again, we continue to turn around and we look for help from those that we feel comfortable in giving our electoral vote. And they have been able on the issue. So that's why we continue every year. We're going to hear of a young black man being shot or killed, or beating up by law enforcement, and the politicians say anything. So at the end of the day, it's up to the people to say, are you going to respect our vote? Because we will not give you our vote if you're not going to clearly address the issues that affect the African American community.
We're talking to Damon K. Jones, Blacks in Law Enforcement, and we're talking about the ongoing shooting deaths of African Americans at the hands of mostly white police officers. And, the elected officials have to be held accountable. So as a threat, when you say the community, my organization, Committee for Justice, we've organized events all over the state, but mostly based in Westchester County. And we've had rallies. We've had a couple where there was like a really poor turnout. And I had people in my, one or two say, people, blah, blah, and I stopped. I said, I don't want to hear that. I said, if there's not a lot of people in here, you didn't organize effectively. I don't let them say that, And so I'm saying, how much is it, the community, they do come out for certain issues, but not other issues. You find that to be true, right?
Yes. I find that they will come out, when a white cop will shoot a black person, but they won't come out when a black person shoots a black person. And that is very, very key. We haven't rallied hard on the black-on-black crime that's in our community. We haven't rallied hard on the unemployment that's in our community. We haven't rallied hard of the failure of our educational system in our community. And all these are factors of the high crime, and all these are a recipe, of what's going on in the black community. But we haven't rallied about them. But we always can rally about when a cop shoots a young kid. And there's nothing wrong with that, But there's other factors in our community that we should be rallying around, too, that affects law enforcement. We haven't rallied that they did not hire black people to be law enforcement officers in our community. The numbers are staggering. The law enforcement in your community, and for everybody listening, should reflect the population in your community. You cannot have a community that's 65% black and have a police department that only have 10% black police officers in it. Something's wrong with that picture. You can't, in cities that are 17%, Yonkers in particular have over 450 officers, and they don't even have 30 black police officers, let alone supervisors. So these are the things, because we know if you hire from within your community and you hire cops that grew up, went to school, they'll have patience and they'll have compassion for their community. They won't be too quick to pull on the gun, the stick, or the taser to do something to someone's child that they grew up with. So this is the true meaning of community policing, which in New York State, especially Westchester County, they are far away from. They are far away from what's going on.
One of the things that I want to talk about is the whole relationship between law enforcement and the black community in particular. And I've seen this, one of the reasons that, one of the issues with Committee for Justice has always been that we have to have programs in our community, and we have to control those programs. I remember fighting for a community center that they said they would never build, and we got them to build it, but then the second part was they went in there and designed all the programs. So in a community that was, had rampant alcohol, drug abuse, or unemployment, they had basket weaving and knitting classes. Do you hear me? Literally, the heroes they had on the wall, Johnny Weissmuller. Isn't that Tarzan? You understand what I'm saying? So if we ain't making the programs, we can't get out of this mess.
Right.
You understand? And so with law enforcement, one of the problems with that I see with law enforcement is that it's not the police's job to babysit. And I've had cops say this to me. Like when we raised hell over police issues in different towns, some of them said, Mr. Davis, we're not against what you're saying because we don't want to be babies. We don't want to be out on the streets interacting with kids who don't have a job or a youth program or anything like that. You know, so really I'm saying that we need to hold these politicians accountable to get these kids off the streets and not use law enforcement as a babysitting mechanism. The clash is bound to happen. We're going to be going to a break. You're listening to the Darrel Davis program on WVOX Worldwide.
That's a good, what you said.